Hello YouTube, this is Darkon633 back with another Transformers review. Today we're going to take a look at the Transformers Takara Legends LG-61 that includes Wingspan and Pounce. Now this finishes up the clone sets that Takara has been releasing. Since we've already taken a look at the Autobot clone set earlier, it's nice to finally get a hold of these two clones, especially since, once again, it's quite a hassle to get a hold of Hasbro releases since they were spread across various ways. So, I appreciate that Takara was able to make their new sets of these clones to make it a lot easier to get a hold of, but it is unfortunate these are some of the last ones that Takara's going to be releasing outside of maybe Great Shot and Grand Maximus that is technically considered new toys. The rest are mostly Hasbro releases or just repaints and slight retools of movie toys, so that's really unfortunate. Anyways, we'll now move on to the presentation and contents. To start off, we're going to take a look at the box first. The box is in your standard Legends 2-pack, similar to what we've seen with the Autobot clones. It has a pretty nice artwork of the two clones there. It says that it is the Decepticon Clones, has the Transformers Legend logo there, has a picture of both of the toys on top, including the names, etc., and shows how it transforms on the back, as usual. Unfortunately, that's all you're really going to get. Similar to the Autobot clones, all you're getting are the two figures. And while this is an accessory, you get the instruction manual and comic that the Legends figures have been including. So in terms of presentation and contents, the overall presentation is nice because the box does its job to represent the toys well, and it does have some really nice artwork on it, but unfortunately the contents really push this down quite a bit. So unfortunately, to me personally, I give that particular category a 3 out of 5. And now we go on to features, which means the articulation and the overall transformation. Now, I actually reviewed the wingspan already, so there isn't a whole lot of difference in terms of transformation features between the mold in general, since they are utilizing the very similar molds. But they do have a few differences that help differentiate between the two different characters. So first we're going to take a look at wingspan again. The same articulation for both of them. The head is on a swivel. Ball joints at the shoulders. Ball joints at the elbows, ball joints at the hips with a little bit of outward movement due to transformation, swivels at the thighs, and single joints at the knees. Since they are Legend style figures, you're not going to get a whole lot of articulation, but it's still pretty good for a Legend style figure. So anyways, we're now going to move on to the transformation. Since we already know how Wingspan looks like, we're going to take a look at Pounce, since he is the newer of the two molds here. Transformation, you're going to turn the head, pull down the Puma head, so it looks like this. We're going to move these forward, swivel the front legs forward, make sure that the bottom legs are straight. We're going to turn these here, pull out the hind legs, bend this forward like this, then pull the tail, which now finishes Pounce's Puma mode, which actually looks pretty good. We're going to quickly transform Wingspan here. Swivel the head once again. Pull the head forward. Swivel the arms so that these will form the bird feet. Turn these around. Swivel them. Make sure that these are facing upward. Pull out the wings. And then we're going to push the wings forward into the little pegs there, and that finishes up the transformation for the two of them. So overall, I think Hasbro did a good job with the original mold, and Takara didn't really do a whole lot to change them. I think it's about the same design, even with the paint not really that much different comparing the Hasbro version, which I don't actually have here, but it's still pretty close. In this mode, the articulation for Pounce, his head can kind of bob up and down, but that's really towards transformation rather than anything else. He does have swivels in the front legs, and his bottom legs can there bend. He still maintains the same hip joints as the robot mode, and you can kind of bend these hind legs, but it's really transformation. Same thing with the tail here, which is articulated in two areas, but that's about it. They do have little empty areas where you can actually place in a Titan Master or a Prime Master, which you're just going to quickly bring one here So we got a Prime Master here, and we also got, a Titan Master, which is Clobber, and the Prime Master, which we got here, which is the one that came with Skullgrin. We're going to quickly just plug him in, so you basically just have a little guy riding the back there. For wingspan, articulation is not really as much because of the way that the placements of the transformation are. You can kind of bend these wings outward, but it's not really transformation once again because it breaks up the overall look, although these wings here are technically articulated. His head also is slightly articulated, and he still maintains the same joints as the arms did in robot mode. We're going to quickly plug in a Titan Master just to see how it looks. And that pretty much covers the features. There isn't a whole lot going for these two, but they do represent the characters very nicely, so I give it a 4 out of 5 just because there really isn't anything else special to them outside the fact they are utilizing the same molds to make something quite different between the two. Now for the overvalue of the set, for retail these clones are just about under 4,000 yen, and I got mine at Amiami, which is just about $25 or so before shipping, so it's a little bit hard to swallow because of the pricing being a little bit high, especially when you realize just what comes in the set. But it's definitely a lot cheaper to get a hold of these versions of the clones compared to the Hasbro releases because of the aforementioned way they were inexpensive sets. So I actually give this about a 4 to 5 as well, just because it is still a little bit on the pricey side. And now we're going to move on to some comparisons. When you actually compare the original G1 toys, which I actually managed to get unlike the Autobot Clones, it's definitely interesting to see how they translated into the Generations form. The original toys are a lot taller than the new releases, but definitely a lot less articulated, and they're definitely obviously in an older toy style compared to the new Generation style releases. But that's pretty close, at least otherwise, in their robot modes, but we're actually going to quickly come back and see how they look like together in their beast modes. Now, when comparing the two, this is where it's a little bit iffy to say, because I actually prefer the new versions altogether compared to the G1 releases. While the G1 releases had a lot taller robot modes, it was definitely compromised since their beast modes were kind of weird looking, and it seems like they cheated quite a bit more with the original wingspan than they did with the Pounce. Pounce is something that is definitely, maybe, looks like more of a realistic Puma, while when you just compare it to the original G1 wingspan, they definitely took a lot of liberties here. It looks like they try to make a bird out of robot parts, but it just looks weird to me in some cases. So this is where I actually prefer the Generations design altogether for both of these clones compared to the original G1 releases. In conclusion, while I can't say this set is definitely the most perfect set out on the market, it's really nice that we got a hold of all 4 of the clones. These are characters I did not expect to get updates in any shape or form, and I'm quite happy that Hasbro and Takara delivered in making their own versions of these if you wanted to get either the Hasbro or Takara colors. Obviously, it's a lot easier to get a hold of the Takara versions because they are released in 2 sets instead of throughout multiple releases, and it's definitely a lot cheaper in the long run. So I highly recommend tracking down the Takara versions compared to their Hasbro counterparts. Anyways, I got my set at Amiami, and it's definitely around, I think. I don't think these sets are quite sold out yet. Last time I checked, Amiami still had them, and I think HLJ might have them as well. Anyways, please comment, rate, and subscribe, and check out Hero Club and Hero Taku. Also check out Twitter, Darkon633, and also Instagram under Darkon633 as well. Please check the other channels down below, and check the little bell at the bottom of the screen in order to see my content go up as soon as possible. I'm back with more Transformers reviews, but for now, I'll be seeing you later, YouTube. Bye.